Let's go to Ukraine and Joseph Lindsley. Joe, I was thinking of you and Ukraine a lot as I traveled through Israel, Egypt, Greece, and Italy, and I realized that Ukraine isn't far at all from those places. And also, when I went to the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem and watched exhibits on the genesis of anti-Semitism and what actually led to the Third Reich movement, it struck me how small, seemingly inconsequential movements in history, along with propaganda and bits of misinformation, can lead to huge and terrible injustices, persecution, and wars. You're a student of history. You know all that, don't you?
Yeah, Bob, great to speak with you again. Those countries you visited, I used to visit before the pandemic. And I think about, for one, for example, the city of Odessa, which was hit in the early hours this morning by the Russians. That's named for the Odyssey, Odysseus in the Greek. There were Greek settlements on the southern coast of Ukraine, and so this area, this has been there's an ancient connection between all these places, and the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem is a very powerful place, and I was thinking about that recently as well, because I've realized that there's such a history of genocides through human history, but only now, because we have an amazing ability to communicate in real time. We can take photographs. We can share on Telegram and Twitter. It's that the whole world knows exactly what's happening. So during the Holocaust, unfortunately, there was a lot of misinformation, and it was hard for people to know the full horrible scope of it, in America, at least, until afterward. And so it's so important now that we can share these stories. Here the tragedies continue as everyone is there's still so many people suffering from the floods from when Russia destroyed the dam in Kherson on the Dnieper River. And some friends of mine, I've spoken about them before, called the Frontline Kitchen, volunteers from all over the world. They race down there to help, and they are getting bottled water to people, evacuating human beings, evacuating dogs and cats. And yesterday, when they were on one of these humanitarian missions, a Russian drone, they saw it. It came, it could see them, in other words. Just imagine that terror. And so during this entire rescue operation, people are being, the rescuers are being attacked. And so they were able to, they ditched the goods and they got out of there. But we have more and more evidence that the Russians have been targeting specifically rescuers and humanitarian operations. So we are, once again, it's, at the Holocaust Museum, you hear the words "never again," and this is the message of everyone here in Ukraine. Will this be never again? And meanwhile, and there still are many people in the West who say we're not sure what happened with this dam explosion, but it's pretty clear for everyone here.
Yeah, that Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, every American should go through there, no matter what their faith is. So many lessons in there, as you know.
Yeah, and Bob, I was thinking about you as well when your father, as you've said, was from Odessa, and last night we had warnings about 11 p.m. that there were about your father, yes, and there were Russian missiles in the Black Sea prepared to attack, and in the middle of the night they began to hit Odessa, and this is highly unusual because it's thought that Putin, Odessa is an absolutely beautiful city. Elegant boulevards, classical Renaissance architecture, and the same way that Adolf Hitler loved Paris, many people think Putin loves Odessa. It's called the Pearl of the Black Sea. But early this morning, about 4 o'clock, the Russians attacked very close to the center of Odessa. This has not happened at all in the past 16 months. Not far from the rail station, they hit a McDonald's, they hit residences. All of the windows of the Polytechnic University were blown out. There was a museum of interesting things. All of this was destroyed in the early hours this morning. And so this is, it's thought that he would not touch Odessa, but here he is now harming this city. And incidentally, that city was created by Catherine the Great, the German-born Russian empress, and she was on a mission to control the wild Cossacks. And so she built this sort of colony there to control the people, because she couldn't, as a Harvard historian said, she hated the free-thinking Cossacks, But ironically, Odessa is one of the most free-thinking, free-spirited cities in the world. And I've been reading a lot of accounts of people who've survived the attacks. Of course, no one's leaving, and they're all the more redoubled in their efforts to stand against Russia.
Those overnight attacks, the missiles and drones, was the Ukraine Air Force able to shoot down many of those?
Yeah, for example, in Odessa, air defense shot down 3 of the incoming missiles. These were the Caliber cruise missiles, but unfortunately one of them hit so close to the center of the city. There also were Iranian suicide drones, which the Russians love to use, attacking nearby regions. And then 2 nights ago, President Zelensky's hometown was hit as well. And there were young workers, many of them in their early 20s, working the night shift at a bottled water factory, which is bottled water is very important in that region because of the destruction from the dam. And they were killed while they were working the overnight shift in President Zelensky's hometown.
I'll tell you something. If you don't think what's going on in Ukraine is of great significance to us all, just do some traveling, and that forces you to look more closely at world maps when you're in that part of the universe, and then you realize Ukraine is not some far-off country. I mean, it's in the middle of some great democracies. Joseph, good to connect with you again.
And Bob, I'll have to listen to your show today because I want to hear about your trip. So I'll find time.
Oh, you've been everywhere I've been, I'll tell you. I think you're the man who can conduct the history lessons. Be well. Talk to you tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Ебать.